Howdy, race fans. Howdy. Welcome to my little show about racing I like to call In the Pits. With me, StockCar Scott. And as always, In the Pits is brought to you each week when I feel like it by Monte Carlo Express Delivery. Monte Carlo Express Delivery has been serving the courier needs of the Puget Sound area for well over a decade now. Please like us on Facebook while you have a chance. Racing started this week before the last show was even posted. If you follow me on Facebook, you know things did not go well for episode number 40, so let me start out with this. This right here, yeah, a page somehow got missed last week, so let's get caught up. On it, I praised young drivers in the Toyota of Bellevue 100 Speedway Chevrolet Super Late Model event weekend before last, as well as my favorite driver, number 73, Gary Lewis. I also mentioned the track champion, Mike Holden, has converted his Hillbilly Hotties Major League Motor Racing Major League Motoring race car to a Ford Fusion with a new engine and nose on his number 32. Also, I need to mention another Facebook friend and favorite driver, Molly Helmuth, in the number 90 Frontier Communications Jana Helmuth CPA Chevrolet. Even though Molly started way back in the back there because of radio problems, she ran as high as 8th by the middle part of the race, but she had to settle for 13th after having to make a pit stop there. So after the race, while I visited her and her family and crew there in the pits, Molly gave me this really sweet, sweet Dale Jr. flag here, which I have added to the set since last week. You may have noticed it last week, and I didn't get a chance to mention it to it because I dropped that page. Anyway, and, you know, I know some flags, some folks find some flags offensive these days. Well, if this one offends you, tough. You know, this is my show. Or as I like to say, it's my little show about racing I like to call In the Pits with me, StockCar Scott. But I digress. Okay, that catches us up to this week. As I was trying to post the show last week, the Camping World Truck Series race was being run there at Bristol, Tennessee. It was my intent to be finished with the show before the race started, but as we all know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I was happy to see that the Toad did not win the 200-lap Camping World Truck event. Number 29, Ryan Blaney, brought his BKR F-150 back from a pit road penalty to beat the Toad heads up. Third was a youngster, John Hunter Nemechek, driving in his dad's number 8 Nemco Motorsports Silverado. And again, you know, I remember seeing John Hunter as an infant in his mother Andrea's arms. Maybe I have been watching this sport too long. Let's get us in. Anyway, the top three in the points finished 6th, 7th, and 8th. So the top three truck points positions stay the same, with Tyler Reddick in first, Matt Crafton in second, and Phenom Eric Jones in third. The next truck race is on August 30th, a Sunday road course race somewhere in Canada. Anyway, Thursday after work, I got to see a K&N Pro East race at a place called, a place near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, kind of like Monroe is near Seattle. And this place was called the Motordrome Speedway in Smithton, Pennsylvania. It looked like a fun little track, even though they had some problems with the big heavy K&N cars. It tore up part of the track, but they got that fixed, and so the race went on and was won by a 17-year-old first-time winner in the K&N series, young Dylan Bassett. Won from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in his family-funded number 44 Bassett Gutters Ford Fusion. Also, Rico Abreu was second in his number 98 AccuDoc GoPro Chevrolet. I really like Rico, who's come from the Wing Sprint Car series to hopefully become a future star of NASCAR. A race near Pittsburgh made me think of a few of my Facebook friends I have in the Pittsburgh area. So I urged them to attend a race there at the Motordrome Speedway soon, and hopefully post pictures. So I hope to see something soon there from Leanne and Clayton that has race cars in it. And maybe they will stop by along the way there and get Terry and drag her out to the track there, because, as I always say, go to the race and take a friend. Also, to Leanne, thanks for sharing the show, so I might pick up a few more viewers in other parts of the country, or world, or universe. Friday was a busy day of racing, so I just took the whole day off. Practice for Formula One was on at 5 a.m. here, so I moved down here to Race Central. That's where I shoot the big show every week and watch all of my TV racing. And it was 5 in the morning, so I watched with one eye open, clutching my pillow tight. Luckily, my wife shook me as she left for work, so I didn't miss Nico Rosberg leading practice before he had a major tire malfunction. My favorite driver, the defending F1 champ, Lewis Hamilton, was second, so it looked good for Mercedes for the weekend. Also, news of Kimi Räikkönen's contract with Ferrari being extended through the 2016 season. After Formula One practice was over, then came NASCAR practice at Bristol for both Xfinity and Sprint Cup. When I got to, after that, I got to watch the K&N Pro West race from Evergreen from last Saturday night. Many of the NBCSN shots mimicked my shots there that you can see on YouTube, because their cameraman was just over my right shoulder for the whole evening. Number 17, David Mayhew won the race the same way that he did last Saturday night, but as you have probably figured out by now, I like to watch video of old races. That's just me. After the K&N race at Evergreen had been broadcast, I watched qualifying at Bristol for the Xfinity and also the Sprint Cup cars. The new version of qualifying works real well there at Bristol, and it's much more interesting there at Bristol than single car runs were ever. Little Denny Hamlin won both the Xfinity pole and the pole for the Sprint Cup night race with a new track record. While I watched qualifying, I had plenty of time to finish cooking on a 4-year-old West Coast Street Stock Series race from May 7th, 2011 at Ephrata, Washington, the Spud Cup. It is now posted on my YouTube channel, of course, called StockCar Scott. And it's already had buku hits, folks. I mean, I think it's already up to like 70 hits or something. So keep on watching it. It's an interesting day of racing there. It's not just West Coast Street Stocks, but it's also their local late models there. So get to see a young Bart Hector Jr. there in action. So anyway, after the Sprint Cup qualifying, the NBC talking heads had their little show. Then the Xfinity race at Bristol got going. Hamlin and the Toad started on the front row, and Happy Harvick was behind them, and it looked like they were going to be the show for the night. But young Roush driver Chris Buescher in the number 60 Mustang ran up front, leading a third or more of the race. Buescher's crew chief kept Chris out when others pitted. Then Buescher was able to stay ahead of the many Cup drivers with the newer tires. So the boy did his best to save his old tires and to save fuel over the last half of the race. And if it had not been for a caution that came out with like 5 or 6 laps to go, and the caution caused a green-white checker, you know, if that hadn't happened, Buescher might have had him a win. But on the restart, the number 60 Roush Mustang sputtered. Didn't quite run out of gas, but on that last restart, Chris dropped like he had thrown out an anchor, and instead of getting to beat the Sprint Cup interlopers there. But we all know that he was there. Good show there. Ty Dillon finished 4th, and he was second, and he's still second in points, while Chase Elliott maintains 3rd, and he is 7th, 3rd in points from a 7th place finish. And did I mention who won? I think that Toad guy won. So anyway, Friday it was nice to revel in racing all day, but you know, got to get on to Saturday. Saturday started with qualifying. Formula One racing there in Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps. I like saying that. Followed by qualifying for the Indy Racing League at Pocono. Both of those were on NBCSN, as would be their races on Sunday. In F1, Hamilton's blistering lap beat his teammate, what's-his-name, by 4.5 tenths. It was an amazing lap there at Spa-Francorchamps. Then came qualifying at Pocono for the IRL guys. Helio, Dancing with the Stars, Castroneves captured the pole. But the big news was when Charlie Kimmel tried to put one out of the park there. It took about an hour for the crew to fix the catch fence. So that impacted the second showing of the Monroe K&N race from last weekend. It got cut down to about 10 minutes. You got to see them wave the green flag, and then when they came back from commercial, they were talking to the winners. Then came the pre-race talking heads again with Krista, Kyle, and Dale, followed by one of my most favorite races of the whole season, the Bristol night race. Probably why I stayed home instead of going out to Evergreen, and I'm kind of glad that I did. Even though the Bristol race did not start out well with Denny Hamlin on the pole there, with his teammate, the Toad, there next to him, just like the Xfinity race there, except for Toad was in the 18 Skittles Camry. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started further back. I think he was like 20th or something. The two Gibbs Toyotas shuffled the lead for the first part of the race, while a couple of loose lugs led to lost laps for Dale Jr. early. But he was able to retrieve a decent finish and even ran up in the top 5 a little bit there, but did not lead any laps. Harvick led laps, and he finished real well. Second. My wife's favorite two drivers there, Greg Biffle and Casey Kane. Didn't get to see much of them. They only appeared when they were getting passed by somebody else, so it wasn't really a great night for either one of them. The Toad, had a late pitting problem there. I think he got a penalty that kept him from being a factor up front at the end of the race, but he still finished in the top 10. The ultimate winner of the Bristol night race was the Joker for another Bristol night race win. Kevin Harvick gave Logano all he had, but like I said, finished second for the 10th time this season. The chase grid, it stays pretty much the same because Clint Bowyer had a top 5 night, and he is still in the top 16 in points. And with Joker's win, no one new got into the chase by winning. The next race is in a couple of weeks at the Lady in Black, Darlington, for the traditional Southern 500, the return of a tradition. And with the return of a tradition, there are going to be a lot of throwback type paint schemes that people are going to have for the Southern 500. So be sure to watch it on NBC. Let me get me a quick drink here. Okay. After Bristol, I watched racing out at Evergreen on Fans Choice TV, or fanschoice.tv. I saw most of the mini stock main, and it was great to see the number 41 Mustang of Scott Burby in victory lane. There were also Hornets, vintage modifieds, and figure 8s, but I was distracted until the final feature came on. The Street Stock Invitational was supposed to be 75 laps, which got off to a shaky start that put the number 4 of Josh LaPointe in the pits. Maybe he had a run-in with, I think, number 56 Richard Kerr on the first lap there, because I saw the 56 driving off with damage after the first lap get-together in turn 1 and 2. They ran long enough before the next caution for 76 Frank Cowgill to be overtaken by number 21 Dave Lund. Dave appeared to be ready to stretch out the lead when the second caution came out on lap 7. Besides Kerr, Cowgill, and Lund, there were other familiar names like the 02 of Todd Connell, the 53 of Darrell Lutoski, the 3 of Andy Beeman, and the 55 of Chad Hinkle. The last 2 got caught up in a third caution on the next restart with 2 other cars. A red flag came out at lap 32 when the 7th place car blew an engine as the leader, number 21 Dave Lund, was about to put him a lap down. At lap 41, there was another caution in the backstretch. I think this one was when Todd Connell's night ended. So, the race got cut down to just 50 laps because they were bumping up against their sound ordinance code. You know, can't keep the cars running too late. But there were only 5 cars left on the lead lap, and Lund had been dominating the race. So 21 Dave Lund went on to win, followed by the 8X of Doug Poirier. And the number 56 did a good job of finishing third there, Richard Kerr. Okay, people were messaging me for video before the dust really even settled on that race. But sorry folks, I was not there. Early Sunday morning, NBCSN had the Grand Prix of Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps. And Lewis Hamilton won from the pole. His teammate, what's his name, Rosberg, finished second from second starting spot. Everything else behind was a battle, culminating with Sebastian Vettel in third, blowing a rear tire on his Ferrari on the last lap that allowed my wife's favorite French driver, Romain Grosjean, to take his first podium in over 2 years. Yes, he got up on the 3rd step. Young Russian Danny Kvyat was 4th, and Mexican driver Sergio Perez was 5th. The Scuderia had problems Saturday with Kimi Raikkonen that he had to overcome on Sunday, and I don't think he finished in the points. And Vettel blew a tire on the last lap, so Ferrari's day pretty much stunk. Lewis Hamilton now leads his teammate by over a Grand Prix worth of points. The next Grand Prix is in Italy over Labor Day weekend. After a little nap that I needed, the ARCA race came on at the same time as the IRL race at Pocono. ARCA had a fun race there on the dirt at the Springfield Mile there in Illinois. One of the 2 dirt tracks that they race on in the ARCA series, both being in Illinois. Because of rain the day before, the cars were lined up on owner's points, but the rain also made for a faster track. Fast being a relative term, with the cars lapping the dirt fairground mile at about a little over 50 miles an hour. So, points leader Greg Enfinger, my favorite Alabama ARCA driver, started on the pole but did not stay there long. His car problems brought out the first caution when his car died before Grant could get it into the pit. He was able to return later to the dirt, but finished 4 laps down. So, after Grant's problem, Tom Hessert led in his number 77 Dodge until a caution that came out just before the race was about halfway over. A.J. Fike in the number 27 Ford, a dirt track specialist, took over the lead on his old tires and never relinquished it through numerous challenges in the second half of the contest. It was Fike's first ever ARCA win. Grant Enfinger still leads the points, but my boy Grant lead over Austin Wayne Self dramatically shrunk during the 100-lap race, but an incident in the backstretch on the last lap saddled the Texan with a poor finish, keeping him a distant second in points there for ARCA drivers. The next ARCA race is another dirt mile in Illinois at another state fair in Du Quoin. And look for A.J. Fike to do well again. And I'm thinking that it will be shown on CBS's Sportsnet. I'm hoping they're on Labor Day when it's run. After the fun, exciting ARCA dirt race, I turned my full attention to the last third of the Indy Racing League race at Pocono, Pennsylvania. Oh my goodness. What a wreck fest. And I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but it's almost like the IRL cars are going too fast to be able to race. It seems like whomever hangs on to a stray bullet for the longest gets to win. Kind of like bull riding, except for the driver can't just hop off after 8 seconds. They got to try to ride that thing for 3 hours or so. Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay hung on to the bullet through copious cautions, including a horrible wreck in which the nose from one car crashed into Justin Wilson's head, and he was helicoptered away to the hospital. A last caution for a blown engine brought the remaining 11 of the 24 starters to finish under the yellow, giving the win to the yellow DHL Honda of Ryan Hunter-Reay. The victory celebration was very subdued because of the current concern that the winner had for his teammate, Justin Wilson. Well, we know now that Wilson did not survive his head injury. I just don't know where to start, folks. I guess canopies for IRL cars are coming. They'll end up looking kind of like, I guess, modifieds with those big rear ends and the roofs. But you know, the main thing is another driver has been lost. You know, and it got me to thinking. When I was young, middle school or so, I think it was, I saw an NFL game between the Lions and the Bears, and a Detroit Lion player got hit so hard that he died there on the field. And in all my years of watching all the other mirror sports, that is the only time that I ever saw a stick and ball player cease to exist during a game. I can't recall seeing a game where an injury sustained led to a death, and I'm not saying it hasn't happened. It's happened over the years, I'm sure, but it's just that I wasn't watching when they did. But I have been watching live when 6 different drivers sustained fatal injuries. So I just don't wish to hear that argument about, is racing a sport anymore? No, it is not a mere sport, a game, a match. Racing is so much more. And last Sunday, Wilson, the race car driver, gave more to his sport than Wilson, the quarterback, could ever dream. Okay, I'm just trying to put this in terms that people around here might be able to consider. Anyway, speaking about around here, you people can go see racing this weekend around here at Evergreen, South Sound, and hopefully at Yakima Speedway if the wildfires over there will allow. Evergreen Speedway is having FSCRA Pro Force, that's Foreign Sports Car Racing Association Pro Force, Pro 4 Trucks, that ought to be a couple of good races right there, Hornets, and 2 different divisions of figure 8s along with the fair, if you want to deal with that fair crowd. And anyway, South Sound Speedway is having a super late model 100 lap feature along with mini stocks, outlaw compacts, and Stinger 8s. Wow, that's 2 types of mini stocks down there. I'm just kind of wondering if some of the South Sound mini stock regulars will cross over there. Well, we'll just have to see. But I'm hoping that where I will be is over in Yakima. Hope it doesn't get canceled because of the fires, because the West Coast Street Stock Series is my first choice of what I want to see and enjoy this weekend. So hopefully things will go better there at Yakima when all these street stocks and limited late models get together. Hopefully things will go better than they did at the Street Stock Invitational at Evergreen. So I hope to see racing this weekend because, you know, I took last weekend off and I think I kind of need a fix there. But wherever I end up, I hope to see many race fans because our drivers up here deserve to have really big crowds to wow, to race in front of, to impress. So get out there to a racetrack and take a friend with you. You know that's where I'll be because I'm StockCar Scott, and this is In the Pits. Thanks for watching again, and join me next week for StockCar Scott's birthday. Until then, we'll see ya. Thanks for watching.